Patiently for it to turn to 6 o'clock.
Mm.
6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. This is a special meeting that we're going to review with Scott and Len to discuss where we're at. I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Cool. Sounds good. Obviously, thank you for doing a special meeting. Thought it was critical to get everyone up to speed in regards to, moving this project forward, what the current scope entails. I know the committee had asked that we put together kind of a board that goes out to the main entrances. That'll be part of our to-do list coming up after the cost estimate comes. I did put together a little PowerPoint that kind of goes over all the areas. I'll go through the PowerPoint. It was the potential that other people would be joining via remote. So to get other educators or anyone else in the district that walked in and wanted to see that. So I put that together kind of as a high level that entails all the scope of the project. We did provide drawings as a progress set. That was a set of PDFs. I don't know if anyone has comments specific to those. Those are, more detailed in relation to the scope than what the PowerPoint is. But again, if there's specific comments on those drawings or scope questions, feel free to ask. Basically, I teed it up in the beginning with kind of an introduction of, how we got to where we're at right now, in case there was somebody online that didn't know how this project came to fruition. And then the scope, and then kind of what the next steps are. So I'll hit the PowerPoint, go through everything. Obviously, if there's questions along the way or we want to talk about specifics or dial into details as much as we want, feel free to fire away.
You just disappeared.
I know, yeah.
And you're gone.
Gave me the wheel saying connecting. Just like that. That was quick. It knew I was about to pop the PowerPoint on. I think I lost connectivity. The public.
You want to email it to me? Or email it to you? You want? I can if you can get on the network.
TS Public.
Yes. Does that go away at 6 o'clock?
Well, it's not supposed to.
Right.
No internet. No power here.
Public.
Go to
Did we beat our one? Cherokee.
Nice call.
Hey. There we go. So.
All right, there we go. So obviously, just as a quick introduction, the district HVAC systems upgrade, it basically started in mid 2022 with a charge of the building committee to do a system assessment and recommendations project in 22 with a final report to assist in HVAC upgrade planning based on phasing, available budget, stuff like that. In late 2022, the state released the indoor air quality grant. That is something that the district went after. It was very late in that year, put it together, but it wasn't awarded. And then late last year of 2023, a second phase had came out, another round of funding, and that one was awarded. That was for approximately $13.2 million. That was for the entire project, with approximately $9 million from the state of Connecticut and $4.2 million from the district. Right now, we're slated for October 24 design completion with a November bid, and then construction commencement January, February 2025, starting the process, submittals, getting on site, doing some of the early things that are feasible based on phase of construction. And then November 30, December early construction date with a grant closeout by the end of year 2025. Right now, there's been no talk of an extension of that grant, so this is the plan. There may be an extension later on, but I think where we're at, we want to get to that point. Not extend it any further if possible.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around a lot of things, so this on, so are we going with a budget of 9 million for the project? Or 13.2?
13 points.
13.2 for the project. 9 million is gonna be our reimbursement from the state.
And I think it's based on whatever the current reimbursement rate. It was around 2/3, 67.25% or something, whatever the current reimbursement rate was.
What was the town, what referendum? What did the town approve?
Value.
13.2.
It was 13.2? Okay, thank you.
But it was contingent upon receipt of the grant.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, so the way this grant works is a reimbursement grant. So the referendum had to be written for the entire amount for the project.
The reason I'm asking these questions is there was no limitation where it was like, oh, we'll approve 13.2 if the town gets a grant at X% of that value, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you.
So that's where we're at approximately. It'd be a $9 million contribution from the state as a reimbursement at the conclusion of the project.
Just to be clear, Bill and I had talked to the state. We we asked that question specifically, and submit as we go,
Okay, wow,
which is
Yeah,
actually.
they'll issue progress payments, I believe, maybe monthly. It's either monthly or quarterly, they will issue progress payments.
Here, our plan has always been, you're borrowing the 4.2 million, I think you just talk to the bankers. Get, the project going. So, you have to get those reimbursement plan with that, which is frankly something I'm concerned about.
Different
Different,
part.
right? So,
But it's also, but that being said, it's also a department, a group of people that we've never dealt with before.
I'm gonna say, we never dealt with them, I don't think, and it is
No.
still the state, so.
yeah, hopefully the only good thing going is that they've had the first phase. So maybe some of the lessons learned from phase one will help them along with phase two. The bad thing is that I think this round had a significant amount of funding, so there will be a significant amount of projects going at the same time. So they are gonna get overloaded manpower wise, and I think that's what hurt the first phase. They had talked about 150 million on that first phase, but did not award it all. Well, I think they realized that they had to execute 150 million worth of grants. And their own personnel, their own staffing levels would have to deal with that. So I think that was part of the reason why it ended up getting broken up.
One final question on this, and I do not mean to extend the first slide here, but the 9 million reimbursement, can we use that for design fees as well?
Yes.
We could start that process now, because they're through facility and schematic. Tossing that up.
But we can't be reimbursed on the ARPA funds that we already committed. So the first 90-something thousand dollars that we started this process with were ARPA funds. We cannot get reimbursed for that. That was our money. We had to spend it first. And I believe there's a small portion of that left, Bill.
So do you mind emailing out a little? Fully under. Okay. For yourself.
Sit down the dollar.
Much your standard answer, there is no one.
So that just adds to the question of if our invoicing comes in on a month, does that invoice get turned into the state by who?
It's me,
Okay,
and it will be.
so you actually execute the payment applications and everything that goes to the state for
Yeah,
reimbursement?
that's actually something that we didn't expect to start until January, February, but
Yeah.
if we could get going now. Out of the amount that was appropriated for this project is. We had spent about 60 and change up until this invoice.
I see.
Finished it off with that.
You can report on what we did spend on it. Are we through schematic design with lots of firm on that?
Yeah, should it be feasibility and programming, that first phase, and then the second phase is schematic?
Yeah.
That was the original contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're done with the first slide. Good job.
Sweet. No, and again, I thought it was important kind of to rehash, because, you know, it has been, we're going on 2
Long
years.
time.
So 2 years trying to get, but in the end, it's worth it because 9 million less from the taxpayer, so. So the rest of the slides kind of deal with scope. And, the first major scope item is a campus-wide upgrade, and that entails the building automation system for the entire campus. This is the only piece that also includes, Memorial or Portolet, the original Board of Ed building there. Outside of this piece, which we had to do in order to incorporate everything, there's no scope of work in that building. And that's based on the grant. So the campus-wide upgrade is a full building automation system to a digital system in lieu of the legacy pneumatics. Obviously, better control of HVAC systems, increased energy efficiency, decreased immediate maintenance concerns, and we'll have new thermostats throughout, giving operability, individual room controls where they exist now. There are some places within the school that, you know, there's 2 rooms controlled from one thermostat through one VAV box. That will continue if there's no scope within that area. But areas where there is new scope, it's on an individual room control basis. At the high school, this was a request at the last building meeting. We have looked at this. It is very viable. Have worked with our estimator to make sure that it is included within the estimate. But it involves the 5 classrooms on the east side of the high school with the less than optimum heating. The intention of this is the existing system will be existing to remain. There's a rooftop unit that provides supply air, return air from each of the rooms. And this is one of the areas where we did some field investigations today to back up what we were intending to do. The one room on the right that has an individual box with the individual thermostat. The next 2 rooms to the left have one control box with one thermostat. So that thermostat controls heat in both rooms. And then same with rooms 3, 4, and 5, one thermostat, one box. The intention here is to utilize the existing systems as they are, utilizing the existing rooftop unit, but provide supplemental heating through linear diffusers at the window curtain wall. So we can wash that wall and add additional heat within the space to take the cool draft off of that. Allow the base building system to be more effective in regards to each room has 6 diffusers in it. There's 4 supplies, 2 returns. So it's definitely getting airflow, but there will be a balancing exercise, a controls exercise to control the multiple systems in there. So we did add that. It looks like with the cost estimating, it wasn't that much. The next spot in the way the slides are kind of worked up, it goes from, basically the northeast of the site and works its way around. Within the high school, the wooden welding shops, heating and ventilation upgrades, including the addition of AC to these spaces. We'll have better control of heating and ventilation when the dust collector is in operation. Right now, when the rooms are in status quo, they're able to maintain temperature, it's comfortable. However, once they start doing operations and the dust collector goes in operations, it basically sucks the environment out of the space. So if it's warm in there during the winter, it becomes cold. If it's cooler during the summer, it becomes hotter. So updating the units in both of those rooms as well as the exhaust will provide for better control of not only heating, ventilation, but also the addition of air conditioning space. Right now, there is minimal ventilation. There's 1 exhaust fan for that entire space that does space exhaust. The new welding equipment, it has a filter on the end of the equipment, so it's room air that gets sucked through the filter, and then, or it actually gets point of use, goes through with, where they're welding, goes through the filter and then back into space. So there's not like a room change. There wasn't any ventilation changes with that welding addition. I think at one point it might have been a metal shop.
It was.
A metal shop, yeah, so, but, again, it'll be a cohesive system. The other thing that was, different here is I believe there was a wall separating them. So each unit has each room has a unit in it where we'll have a conjoined space and a better control of that entire environment. Obviously with the controls upgrade, that adds, value for that space. Not have one space trying to fight the other space, dust collector taking all the air out. So that was basically a joint scope of work. For the gym, currently right now, the gym and the locker rooms have 3 units. There's a penthouse where there's an existing unit. One unit feeds the locker room area and the other 2 units feed the gym. That's indoors in the penthouse. So with this scope of work, we would have heating and ventilation upgrades and the addition of air conditioning space. Currently, right now, they just have heating, ventilation. From a ductwork perspective, it'll all be existing to remain. We'll be doing in-kind replacements of the unit themselves, reconnecting heating coils, and then utilizing DX. Right now, our structural is evaluating whether we can go on the roof or we can hang internally. And that's more of a phasing issue. Right now, the 3 units are hanging internally. I'd like to go on the roof and then duct down through the roof and then pull the units out and have a quick disconnect reconnect. If we can't have the structural load of the existing and the new units, then we'd have to do more of a phased approach. And they're finalizing calcs on that right now. So we may have to pull one out, put one in, pull one out, put one in, based on the structural load. There's pretty significant I-beams. Obviously, there's a superstructure as well as those units hang. So there's significant structure there, but they just have to validate what that phase is.
That's the 2 new, the last units, right?
All right, rephase that, like future new or existing?
Future new,
Yes,
with the DX quality.
yes. Yeah. So that would provide the AC for the entire area for the,
I just wanted to make sure it was 2. It was
Locker.
still 2 new, 2 of
new
them.
for the gym, 1 new for the locker. The science rooms for the high school, as well as the second floor classrooms, that's a large area. Right now, it's very minimal in regards to what it has for ventilation. It's an exhaust only type system, so you're basically getting makeup air through infiltration, cracks, basically air that's moved throughout the school into there. There is no supply air in this area. The science classrooms do have units that do provide supply, return, and exhaust, which by code we have to do 100% outside air for science classrooms. So the science classrooms will be more in-kind replacement of what they currently have, where we'll have full ventilation, fresh air, exhaust. But the rest of the space, 3 new units will provide supply air, return air, full ventilation. So you're going to get outside air for those that are, basically code compliant. Everything does have perimeter heating right now. So there is, obviously from a heating standpoint, you do get the heating from the perimeter, but the heating will come from the units themselves. And then we'll have the augment of the perimeter where the window wall is. We did validate the 6 classrooms here. We had some information in regards to these not having perimeter heat on some existing as-builts. So we did walk through that today, and we got get in close. So that'll be the second floor. Again, that's I feel a significant increase in that area because of the outside air ventilation. Those spaces. Yes, and with those units, it'll have air conditioning. The cafeteria or kitchen in the home ec area. Originally, we thought this was going to be just a cafeteria upgrade in regards to the unit that feeds the cafeteria. As we dug into the design development, construction development phase, if you will, we found additional ductwork where actually that unit that's above the ceiling, right in this area of the cafeteria, actually feeds all three spaces with supply and return. So when we update that unit there, it actually adds to the ability of all spaces to improve ventilation. This unit right now is slated to be on the roof of this area right here. This is the vestibule that was built at some point as an addition. Again, good I-beams, good structural supports. Within this area here, it was bar joist. And there is an I-beam right along here where the above classroom goes. But again, just from a structural component, minimizing cost, reinforcement, additional structural concerns, this vestibule roof mounted, and then we'd have a little bit of roof mounted ductwork that would get across this I-beam. There's an I-beam right here where if we go directly down, we can't get back to the cafeteria unless we were to significantly reduce the ceiling height of that cafeteria. So a little bit of roof mounted ductwork, get down, and then everything else will be above ceiling. The kitchen area and the home ec area, all that ductwork will be existing to remain with the disconnect reconnect. But the cafeteria itself would have a complete layout, new layout with supply diffuser. There is a makeup air that goes across this corridor, across the classrooms, and there's a nice stainless steel shroud out here where currently we do get outside air to this unit above the ceiling. That will be no longer needed because the outside air will be taken directly from above the vestibule. So we won't be utilizing that. That'll be abandoned in place. So we don't have to do anything with ceilings down here and cost movement. So this unit,
Scott, with all the units that we are going to abandon, they're all going to remain in place. We're not,
well,
except maybe the ones for the gym.
yeah, the ones that are being replaced in kind, yeah, we're gonna take those out. But the high school cafeteria one, that's in kind, so that's coming out. The other one that's abandoned in place would be the elementary school cafeteria. That's above the kitchen area. We're not going to reuse that area for the installation of the new. So it just becomes, significant cost because you have the kitchen below it. You either have to blow a hole out the side above the double door to get it out, or you have to sawzall it. But again, there's labor, material costs to get that out. So, just from a point of use, that was an area that we thought you might build a mezzanine or do something down the road. We would look at taking that out, but we're trying to allocate the dollars, the new equipment, maximize ventilation. Or there you go. Yeah, if you wanted to, just
Nothing like a Saturday volunteer project.
Scrap it.
Well,
We have a cookout, really good cookout after that.
It starts with one little tile in the corner that you got to take out. You got to get a ladder up into that, then you crawl up that, then past that you got to get on some pipe, crawl around. Yeah,
It's gonna be the first time, Scott.
Yeah.
The first.
yeah, it's kind of amazing. When I saw that unit, I was like, I was a maintenance guy. I don't know if I'd ever come up here to change filters, but yeah, it's pigeonholed in there nice. Over at the middle school, boiler upgrades. Right now you have existing boilers that are at end of useful life, beyond useful life. So, new boilers within the boiler room will pick up all the heating All the piping existing to remain. It's going to be an in-kind replacement of boilers. We did upsize those a tick because we have added some additional units at the very end that will come off of those boilers, and then basically keep the work in here with the exception of that piping. Basically minimize the scope. The middle school cafeteria, there's a unit, again, buried up above. This is one unit that would be abandoned in place. There's an outside air louver on the perimeter right here that brings outside air in. Then it comes through and provides ventilation to this space, heating only, heating and ventilation. Again, end of useful life, very compact area. Do an in-kind replacement in its place would be additive in regards to crushing cost. So we have a ground-mounted unit programmed right outside, just to frame this area. There's a back entry that comes in this way. There's a convolt tank up here for fuel oil. Not a high-profile aesthetic area, so we do have a ground-mounted unit here. Looking structurally at this, there's bar joists that run across wall to wall. No support whatsoever. So it would be a significant dunnage effort if we were to try to get it on that roof. So from a structural demand, we went with the ground mount unit outside here. We'll have supply and return duct that will go up onto the roof, and then we'll punch down supply and return. That would be, again, 100% outside air, ventilation, and addition of AC.
I have a question.
Yep.
Does that include the kitchen area? Because we've had water issues with kitchen.
Yes. Yeah. So there is a newer exhaust hood for kitchen grease exhaust here, and then we have a makeup air unit here. So those operate in tandem. When the hood's going, it provides makeup air, kind of like the home ec area got the new makeup air unit with blue exhaust. So same type of thing. Those would be existing to remain, but we would have that extension for this space. Right now, we're trying to figure out what this over here, how or a way that we would do this space. It's convoluted right here. It's storage. And then this is an outdoor freezer here. This area here used to be a cooler. It's utilized for stored goods right now, but it's not a functional cooler.
But there is a cooler in the house.
Yeah, I think this is a
There's
cooler
a
right
cooler
here.
over there.
Yeah. Yes, because this unit here is going to serve the entire space. From a control standpoint, that's where it's going to get tricky. But with electronic digital controls now between the makeup air, grease hood, and supply for that space, it'll be balanced.
So are you gonna spec out, is it ballast? Cause that's where that asphalt over in there, is it ballast going down around that ground mount? That back driveway parking lot or something back there?
Yeah, right there, it's grass.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's
it doesn't need ballast or anything?
yeah, there's a grass area right there with concrete pad. So that you're right, there is a concrete drive. It kind of bends around like on an angle, comes around, and it hits the backside of the pool and up by the high school.
Okay, I just, when you said ground mount, I knew it was, you could drive back there, so it shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
For the middle school gym, currently there's 2 ceiling hung units right at this end here, one over each of the stands area. This one right here sounds like it's going to fall apart any minute. Not sure what's going on there, but again, end of useful life, heating, ventilation only. Existing ductwork to remain, replace the unit in kind. And then there's a flat roof right above here where we would add DX on the backside here. So basically 1-for-1, just increase the ventilation and the addition of AC. For the elementary school, basically at that door right here, there's a access door. That portion back is, again, it's kind of like the high school second floor where it's a perimeter heating zone with radiant heat. And then there's one exhaust louver in each of the areas where we provide exhaust air and makeup air goes through infiltration or through the corridor that comes under the door. No supply air, no return air, no real units.
No, they're a unit ventilator.
Yeah, they're unit ventilators. That's right. This is a unit ventilator. So yeah, unit ventilator. That's right. So for this one here, it brings outside air through the unit ventilator, goes into the space. We'll abandon the outdoor air portion of it, but still have the heating. The outdoor air will come from new DOAS units. Again, this is a bar joist area where the structure does not permit the ability to mount anything on the roof. So we're utilizing the courtyard. There's a courtyard that goes through here with a door at the bottom. There's some stumps in there and grassy knoll. Those units would be mounted outside with rooftop mounted ductwork. This entire area would have ductwork on the roof. The ceiling heights, bar joist is not conducive to running ductwork coming in at one spot, having a supply return main, and then hitting all the branches for the classroom. So we would have a significant amount of roof mounted ductwork here. We just did an entire school this way. Yeah, the older schools with the bar joists, the low ceiling heights, just doesn't permit. We don't get the days of 12-foot floor to floor heights with the 18-inch bar joist height. So that would be roof mounted. Yes. So this area in red will have the addition of AC. Everything to the south is existing AEON units. Those units are not programmed to be replaced, so there will be no AC in this middle school portion or this portion. So them AEON units are, they've been recently, or I wouldn't say recently, but they're in better condition.
18 years as opposed to 60 years.
Yeah, yeah. And that was part of the programming exercise. We did look at potentially doing a 1-for-1 here, but that was deemed as a potential future phase if another grant came up or another award where the priorities with nothing, these locations, like these areas at least get supply air, they get ventilation air, where these don't have any of that. All they have was exhaust. And again, it comes back to, bang for the buck at this moment. We could have not added AC and matched this and left the spot for a cooling coil or a DX. But again, it comes back to, it's not money well spent at the time if we were just to match this, because it's going to cost a lot. And like we know, these grant opportunities don't come along very often. We'd probably go another 40 years. So in an attempt to get as much as we could with what we programmed to do.
So at this point, I would venture a guess that at the end of the day, we will probably have 40% of the school classrooms air conditioned.
Yeah, the high school, significant.
The high school,
Yeah.
but in general, the entire
In general.
campus, the entire campus between the high school and this wing, the gymnasiums, the cafeterias will probably be up around, just off the top of my head, I'm saying 40-45%.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the other thing now is with the existing ventilation, that's the big thing. It's just you've seen significant, significance in the high school, this section here, you know, at least some of these classrooms, all of these classrooms are getting ventilation. They're getting outside air. And obviously from what we've seen from, you know, the pandemic, you know, indoor air quality, that's a big thing on this set of scope of work was to improve the indoor air quality in as many spaces as we possibly could. And then with that, the AC comes as an added benefit for them.
Bill, with all this stuff going on the roofs, is there any exposure for warranties for any of these, for any of this stuff that we have to let the manufacturers know?
So at this point, what we're looking at now, the high school roof and this particular section of this roof, are the newest ones, which is, well, we didn't even get paid for them yet, so. Those roofs are only, I'm gonna say 3-4 years old, still on the warranty.
So we have to identify that in the specification.
Yeah, Bill and I have communicated on the roofing, because that was one of my questions. I was like, all right, who holds a warranty?
Yeah.
Which areas have warranty? You know, because that is part of the specifications where we
We'll
have to go
make that
through
like a proprietary item.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to identify who the warranty.
Yeah, and I don't recall offhand. You sent me an email back with that information. I don't remember.
Neither do I, but,
Yeah.
but I know we've got the information.
So there's a focus on it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in one area you told me it was beyond useful life and there was nothing and
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah, we're at some areas, you know, the middle school cafeteria, for instance, this area over here. I know nobody believes this because you all think it's a new roof, but that roof is at the end of life. It's now going on 19 years. It's only a 20-year roof. But that particular one is ground mounted. And I think in most cases we hit that as far as the roof line. Most of the roof mounted stuff is on the newest roofs.
The elementary cafeteria, this was an interesting one. This is the high cafeteria with the basketball courts in it. So we did walk through this. You know, I talked to Bill about the basketball courts, you know, the volume. You know, is it imperative that we keep the height of that space? So right now we have a new unit serving this space with the intention of putting a drop ceiling in the space to minimize the volume of heating, cooling, ventilation. That would go across a mullion. There's actually a light at the south end where the full window height. We would go with that ceiling at the mullion height, come across with the full ceiling. Structurally, we're looking at 2 spots for this. Right now, there's this little storage room right here. So we're looking at that area. We're looking at hanging it from this area just above the ceiling and then also looking at the roof. So this is one outstanding item that our structural guy has to finalize, put this as a final. So he's close, but he doesn't have it finalized. So we're not too sure where that unit is. That's probably the most difficult one that as based on, we took LiDAR scans in this room. So we have the structural, but without a lift, you know, we really didn't get up to measure all of that. We didn't have existing conditions. So he's working with that LiDAR scan, to get existing conditions of the structure. There's some sound material up high. So again, that would be both spaces, existing ductwork here, new ductwork out here with supply diffusers. This would also have new lights. Right now, there's a 8-foot lights with a plug cord, almost like a Home Depot kind of light that plugged into a receptacle that's up high. So that would
I just put those in this summer.
Did you?
That's a brand new, those are LED lights. So
Yeah, they
that's
are.
a brand
Yeah,
new
yeah.
lighting project. We haven't even paid for it yet.
Really? So
It's
that
all
would
right,
have
Bill, don't worry about
2x4 lights in this area. So just as a summary, this is kind of, the elementary school here, portion. The scope of work for that would be the 78 addition and the cafeteria. Then controls for everything. And we didn't really talk about early child development, but that is a controls upgrade only. In working with Bill, we got on his computer, looked at the controls. So we do have what digital is already there. So we're going to maintain that digital component, put a, basically a communication piece in there that would tie in. So we wouldn't be replacing valves and actuators and all the electronics components that are already to that portion of the building. It would be more communications network hub that we could talk to the new.
But I think the important piece, Scott, is that in the end, it's gonna be a single comprehensive system.
Yes.
The building automation system is gonna be for the entire campus, not this runs this piece, that runs that piece.
Correct.
It's gonna be a single system.
No pneumatics. So all the compressor. I walked in one today and I heard it leak. Oh boy. So
Like the elementary. This isn't on pneumatics, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so there is a blend.
yeah,
So,
I'm
yeah.
not even gonna go down that road, but so
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my question more plain. We say controls upgrade, we're actually hitting every area beyond the redded.
Absolutely. So the perimeter heating in this area right here is all on Johnson Controls pneumatics. So each room has a thermostat, each room has a control valve. So yeah, that's being updated with the new controls. So, even though we're not getting AC, we're getting better room control of temperature within those areas.
My final question. We're talking about construction sequencing, construction schedule. Workers will be entering every single one of those wiring, putting in control valves. Various- Every single.
Yeah, I would say 85% of the school will have a scope of work item.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, 85%. Between the controls upgrade and then all the various red areas that you've seen. Yeah,
the controls, the controls upgrade is going to be the biggest piece. There are miles and miles and miles of pneumatic tubing in this building.
I'll bring it up now, too. When we say about building management systems, the acronym EMS. That is a lot of these systems. So if you go to classroom, whatever, 100, bring it up on the screen. You can see how it's controlled, advanced spinning, whether the valve is open or closed. My point is, don't have that now, and it's complicated.
We do in some places.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're gonna need training in the specification. There's gonna be a lot of little things like
There's
that.
gonna, so Brian, to your point, there is gonna be training in the specification, there has to be. And it is complicated. But if you come right down to it, it's not nearly as complicated
What's going
as-
on now.
as what's going on now in pneumatics. When there's nobody that knows. There's nobody to come well, almost nobody. There's nobody to come train anybody.
There's
that's
no
the-
spare parts.
yeah, I was just gonna say, there's no parts.
There's
That-
no
that's-
maintenance parts.
yeah.
Well, we got a few. We've got a few parts left. But the problem is there's nobody to, if it goes down and you have to call someone, good luck.
Yeah, just from a comfort, whether it's thermal comfort, whether it's cooling, heating, ventilation, and then controls, as well as energy efficiency, the building management's a huge piece of this project. It's gonna be, I would say, 10%. No, 20%.
I'd say more than that.
Yeah.
20%. Gotta do my math. which is 2 to 2.5 million. Yeah.
But it's also the part that's gonna reap a payback benefit
Oh,
under the energy
absolutely.
side.
Yeah.
I thought you'd like that. Bill.
So I did look at that. Yeah, I did look at that, but it's everything they're doing right now is if you change from gas to electric. And it's like, well, what about if we're doing something that's making it more energy efficient?
What about
like
the
a heat
boilers?
pump?
Boilers, no gas.
There's no gas. Steve. No gas. We're all number two. Yeah, you almost have no choice unless we want to try to run electric boilers, but I don't see anything
Yeah.
happening there. There's no gas available.
Yeah.
There's no gas pipe up there. And I don't think we want to look at the option of putting 30,000 gallons of propane out there because propane is also not really a great option.
Electric service. Yeah, so basically we'd be using heating hot water. We'd be going to another box with a heating coil, and then we'd be providing air.
Do you feel that's gonna shut the thermostats off out of heating that room on the other system prematurely or anything?
No, that's where the controls come into play, where we have to, because again, if we go back to that, that area, we have, basically 2 rooms on one thermostat.
Right.
So right now, if, you know, the educator in one room gets a little warm and turns that down, it affects the room
But I
next.
think, I think Scott, and correct me if I'm wrong, look at the prints, but I think those thermostats, those wall mounted thermostats, basically, they're only for the VAVs.
Yeah.
And the radiation, the actual unit runs off a return air.
Yeah, that's a different, yeah, that goes back to the,
Yeah,
Thermostat.
right, it's not really a thermostat. So the RTU unit runs off a return air.
Mhm.
And the thermostat just opens and closes the VAV. There's a reheat coil in there and kind of balances the amount of air going in and out of the room.
and the thing is that it's very, minimal, thermostat. There's a
Yeah.
W on it for warm and a C on it for cool. And then you move it up and down and there's no, it doesn't say 78, 76, 74. It just says W
Warmer or
and C.
cooler.
Yeah, yeah. And you get no digital readout either that says, okay, it's 78. And even if it, you know, some people, they look at a thermostat, it says 78 and all of a sudden they feel warm. You know, it's just a mind game where you don't have any. It's a
But
very-
more importantly, the issue is that the structure of the windows themselves, there's no thermal break. So,
Yeah.
so every educator up there wants their desk next to the window.
Yep.
And the window just transmits that cold from outside. The other end of the room where the temperature sensor is, it's probably
Yeah, that's the other thing.
it's probably 72, so it's satisfied. But where they are,
Yeah.
it's not, it's cold.
Yeah,
So I wish there was something else we could do with them.
so, like, just to give you an example, like where the cursor is there, right here. There's a supply diffuser, a supply diffuser, supply diffuser, supply diffuser, return diffuser, and a thermostat. So the supply, as far as it gets in the room, is right here, and then immediately comes south to the return. And then that movement of warmer air to the return hits the thermostat here and the room becomes satisfied.
Yeah.
So just from an original design perspective, we got nothing at this perimeter wall.
Yeah.
So even if this was a thermal break with, you know, very efficient windows and everything, we still don't have the air movement to
Yeah,
that
so
space.
No.
Yeah,
get anything in that zone. It's all coming back towards the corridor and leaving,
yeah. It's
satisfying.
not a bungee cord coming right.
Yeah,
back.
yeah, it's
Right.
coming right back. So it's like a double effect in these rooms with,
They're radiant heat panels against the wall, but they're really,
yeah, so basically utilizing the heating hot water, we would go to a separate coil. Then we would go between linears, which would put that curtain down that wall, prevent that draft. And then hopefully, this zone right here, it's gonna mix back and come back.
You're going ceiling linears, right?
Yes, ceiling linears, yes, with air curtain blowing down.
I have several other questions. I didn't know.
No, I think we were on the elementary, and these were just summary slides, again, just showing the bigger picture, so you had an idea of the zones of each area. Again, from the middle school, controls upgrade, the boilers, cafeteria, gym, that's the main scope there. Obviously, this area down in here has the newer air Aeon units on the roof, so it has ventilation. Talked about this space up. And then the high school, obviously from the high school, we see a lot of red boxes there, significant amount of improvement on that side, especially with this wing here, courtyard. So between cafeteria, classrooms, gym, wood, welding shop, 5 classrooms here, significant improvement of the high school. Next steps, as I would warn anyone at this point, the scope is preliminary. This is the intent. The cost estimate, we are expecting it this Friday. It's going to give us a beeline of where we're at, with where we're going. Obviously, based on the cost estimate, we may have to review scope. There may be some alternates in here where we need to make some hard decisions. Say, hey, based on the bid climate, we need a deduct alternate here. Or, if the estimate is friendly, we'll say, hey, maybe we got a little bit more and we'll do an add alternate here. Obviously, that'll shape the bid documents themselves. We'll put it on the bid. And obviously, from a contractor's perspective, that climate could have additional payments. But once we get those numbers with either deducts, alternates, we might have to make a hard decision there as well to hit our 13.2. That's basically a summary of the scope, where we're at right now, how we're progressing. Want to take it to the finish line and get that estimate really honed in on the last pieces. Do some below the line items with alternates, whether it's adds or deducts.
So that's estimate. It's based on schematic design?
No, the estimate's based on a 50% CD set that we provided a couple of weeks ago. To the estimate, about 3 weeks. If we give 3 weeks, 50% CDs. So since then, we've been working with them, obviously, based on the request for those 5 classrooms. I reached out to them and said, hey, this ain't showing on your drawings. I gave them some red line markups and said, hey, this is what we want to do. We're adding this, utilizing existing heating. And then they came back and asked some questions, on boxes, how many boxes, how many thermostats, zones, stuff like that, ground mount. What are we doing for this roof mount? So we kind of clarified some of the questions they had, and that kind of filled that gap. Right now, I told them, even though we had a 50% CD set, I said carry a design contingency of 5%, just because I know we added a couple units since that 50% set where we found out where the zoning wouldn't work or whatever. So we added a couple of units in the high school. So.
Can I get a copy of the drawing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I sent it a while ago.
Did you? Yeah. I miss emails. all the time.
Right,
So
right,
let's,
right.
If you could send it to me again.
Yeah,
that'd be
after,
great.
it was the day after our last meeting. What day was that? 2 weeks ago tonight. Whatever that, I can send it.
Just
No
send
big
it,
deal.
send it to me.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send it. So basically, yeah, it has, I think there's 78 drawings.
You know, Scott, I don't recall getting.
I don't either.
I can't.
Honestly, I don't really.
I just sent it to you.
I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
Oh, all right.
Because I'm sure if I got those 50% CDs, I would have sent them to Danielle and asked her to send them out
Yeah,
to
yeah.
them. Because we had talked about that and
Yeah,
getting them out
remember,
before this meeting.
It was the day after,
Right.
that meeting.
Right,
What was
because,
that date?
when we were here that day, you mentioned you were gonna get them out so that everybody
Yeah,
could
because
see.
I had asked you if you got them before, because I sent them 2 weeks before.
Right.
You said, no, I never got them.
I
What the
think
heck?
I still don't think I
Failed,
did.
Scott. You better get that right on top of that.
No.
Tonight.
That was, our
What was
last,
that date?
our last meeting was on the 11th, so you, not on the 12th.
You know, Scott, you're probably better to not trust me and send them to Danielle.
Right, right.
Send them right
I
out.
am gonna
No,
do that.
I'm honest.
Yeah, here it is here. Bill Birch, Brian Santos. Hi, guys, as discussed last night. I even gave you a schedule, 9/12, 9/25, 9/12.
Stuck in your outbox. I'm like, I have no doubt, this is the email world, sometimes it happens. All right, so next question. If you can, I would like, there's a reason why I'd like this updated. So you originally gave us, this is a long time ago.
Yeah, so that was the original report that kind of based a preliminary scope and then future
Sure.
phase scope. Yeah,
And for me.
Yeah.
I would like this to be updated,
okay.
include everything that you summarized. The
Yeah.
reason I would like that
Okay.
is because we're gonna need to write up in the specification, a project schedule. And I would like to have a nice detailed, more robust summary report to kind of control the areas that they're working.
Okay.
So prepping for that to review with you guys. I think having a summary, more robust summary report with this updated help.
So my only question on that is, can we wait till we get the cost estimate
Oh, yeah.
and validate
Not
that
asking
portion?
for this, like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought you meant based on tonight.
not a-
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to make sure that what the
Yep.
construction documents are gonna.
After the estimate, after
Yeah.
alternate deducts, whatever we're comfortable with, then
Okay.
I would like that.
Yep.
Because I'm really worried about schedule. And I just want to make sure that we send a document out to bid, that there is, bidder can look at it and go, high school, bang, this is the robust summary of work that they're doing. Middle school, bang. Instead of looking at an equipment schedule on the plans and trying to figure out X, Y, and Z. I just would like a summary section.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So when you said 50% CD, this was my email to you guys. I am confused.
Yep.
On where we are here. So we did feasibility,
Yeah.
approved schematic design, which we just confirmed that we paid for. There was a design development phase that you now worked up to 163, but yet you're saying you're 50%. So I am just lost on where we are.
Yeah, so, I think you missed that meeting.
I clearly did.
Yeah. So when we had a meeting, we discussed, where the project needed to be fast tracked in relation to doing, getting deliverables and getting estimates.
Okay.
And we kind of morphed away from the design development as a submission and more or less took it past design
I
development.
mean, I'm happy about the 50% CD.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
trying to interrupt you.
No,
I'm
no.
just trying to figure out where we are with the finance.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think our last billing was like 50% DD. So we're behind on the billings because we had talked about, the other thing we had talked about that meeting was not getting too far ahead based on what you had already allocated. Remember, there was like a allocation schedule? And I sent one email in regards that basically gave, all right, July, this is what we're anticipating, August. So I kind of gave an invoicing schedule on where we thought we would be invoicing the rest of this through the rest of the year.
Okay, that's all fine and dandy.
Yeah,
I just don't, we usually do things in segments, like I said.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
approve
yeah,
this, we approve this.
Right,
Seems like we skipped over DD. We're in the
And-
CD,
and
so I don't
see-
know where we are with.
As in a submission, yes, we skipped over DD as a, so instead of doing like a 30% CD, which is like DD.
Yes, yeah.
We went straight to 50.
That's all fine. I
Yeah.
just want to know where do we need to approve values? Like, just don't know where we are with it. Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah, you make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because those are traditional and that was based on the RFP.
Because I'm basing upon what Bill Stegler just said.
Yeah.
We are out of ARPA funds. You're looking for 163,750 for DD phase, which you clearly went through, it's just you didn't give us it.
Yeah.
335,000 for the construction documents. And then construction services at 196 for a total of everything, 757, 875. I know I missed a meeting, but I don't know if we ever approved 163, 750, 335, 750. I have no idea. And I know you're at that phase, so clearly we're behind. Looking to others to help me.
So
here.
I believe, Brian, that is this document that we've got here tonight, is that this is the new contract that shows all of those values that we have not approved yet, even though Scott is
Yeah.
clearly
You're
into it.
you're just moving forward with it. I mean, we're obviously okay with reimbursement. I mean, I just did the math. It's 757,875. Well, let's take a step back, right? First, Scott, if you can for me, I like managing people's expectations. Just on your cover letter, just gave us the September 12th. This first line, the project scope upgrades for an estimated budget of 4.2 million. That is not correct.
So that's the original. So there's the original proposal and then it's followed up with an amendment.
The addendum's on the back, Brian. Yeah.
So there's an addendum.
That's what they
So-
tried to
so-
do, the original.
We already had a contract in place for the original 4.2 project. Then
Yeah, I
when
see the
grant-
amendment. It's July 9th, 2024. Was dated older than the cover one.
Yeah, and I think our people probably just put the 12th on it, but it's the original one. So that was, the original project is based on, if you go to that, you had that summary sheet. You go to the summary sheet, the summary sheet with the original, that was the original project based on 4.2.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
then
that
there was-
old. It's literally 13 days ago.
No,
right?
it's
You know?
not. That was the original, and I don't know why.
Oh,
that
so
got-
it auto updated the date is what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Because Word
assuming.
does do that. It updates.
Yeah, it might have done that.
Okay. Now that
Yeah,
makes more
so-
sense.
So that's the original
Okay.
scope.
Okay, fine.
Then
I can live
there
with
was
that.
an amendment
Okay.
based on the grant. Remember,
Yeah.
we went from 14.
I just get worried because Danielle posts
Yeah,
the
yeah.
backup.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll see the date. They think this is current and
Yeah,
they see
yeah.
4.2
Oh,
million.
really? No.
That is not correct, right?
Right, that
right.
is no.
And it's a big mistake.
Yeah, that's the original.
I know what you're
Proposal.
saying to me. It's just
Yeah.
maybe I'm making a mountain out
So,
of a molehill.
well, no, probably not, because I agree with you. If somebody sees that date, they're gonna take it and run with it. So Scott, could we possibly get this document updated with the
Yeah,
correct
yeah.
dates?
Yeah, I can go back
Before-
into our system because we have all that, because the original RFP was
Right.
like 2022.
We have all the original documentation too, so if
Yeah.
somebody says anything, we show them the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
documentation.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's. appropriate. But yes, it should be the date.
So, obviously going with this thing again, with the update, 4.2 million, obviously considerable amount of scope changes. First and foremost, great job on the presentation, all this orderly. There's a lot going on. At 13.2 $2 million budget, not 13.1. Right?
Is it 0.2 or is it 0.1?
That was, the referendum was for 13.2 up to 13.
13.2 million and your price at 757,875. That is roughly 5.7% of the budgeted costs. He's speaking for a little bit of industry knowledge. I feel like for the scope of work Lens is doing, it's pretty fair and reasonable. So, let's leave it at that. I think that's pretty fair and reasonable for 5.7% design. Scott, and I thank you.
So I think that at the next regular meeting, we need to have the motion to approve it and someone needs to sign this.
Yeah.
Because this hasn't really been signed off on yet.
So we're not doing that tonight, I take it, you just said the next meeting. We're just gonna talk about it
It's a
tonight.
special meeting, we can't do anything that's not on the agenda.
Oh, that's right.
So that would give, that gives us what, another 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So that gives Scott time to fix the dates on the
Yeah.
document,
Yeah,
So that
I'll
everything
update
is-
that to the original.
everything is correct, and then we can approve it and Mr. Rice can sign it.
I'm not trying to pick on you with the numbers, and it just, there's people in town that look at certain things and, it's batty, but. that's okay.
Right. So that was the original
Don't let them
attachment
bother
A.
you.
That was the original attachment A that the
They're always
original was based on.
And they're never gonna go
Do
away.
you
so
want the
don't let it control
revised
you.
based on a different sequencing? Oh, okay,
This is fine.
okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, not for me, for myself. No, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I just get worried about who's looking at what question, right? So. Okay. All right, so tell me about schedule for yourself. So you're giving us 50% CD estimate. What's the manage our expectations on responding to you to be able to move forward with the final documents? Just kind of walk us through that process. As you're looking that up, Scott, are you gonna ask us to release equipment like pre-purchase?
No, we don't have that scheduled currently. Pre-purchase.
Yeah.
Just because of the year timeline. And, that becomes burdensome on you, and then you have the responsibility to accept delivery, do all that. We talked about that a little bit in the very beginning in regards to that being a potential option. But with the DOAS units, with the equipment lead times
sure.
right now, we're not.
I just, I'll just throw it out there. In this 2025 finish by,
Oh, yeah.
I'm giving that like a 5% chance.
Yeah.
Okay. Not gonna happen. Wait. I mean, I know you're being facetious, but this is, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, so. Okay, all right, so let's get back to this.
Did you get an email I just sent you?
Yeah, I just received it.
I stopped here. I'll pull that up. So, so this is what we had at the last meeting. So we had 9/12 was, the district to receive estimator set, and this is that email that I sent on 9/12. So I'm not too sure, it must have got clogged up or something.
Maybe you sent this, I don't know, I haven't,
Yeah.
I don't know. If you
So-
could send it back to me, that'd be great. I
Yeah, I
apologize for
will.
not
Not a
keeping
big
track
deal.
of some stuff.
Yeah.
Showing though.
So 9/12 was the estimator set we were gonna provide to you.
Yep.
9/25, which was today, special building committee meeting to go over comments of those drawings if you had any, and to bring everyone up to speed with current scope.
Just saying, we're behind. Gotta give you comments.
Well, if you don't have the drawings, that's hard to do. So, And then 9/27, which is Friday this week, is the anticipated date for having, estimate back. So that's 9/27 Friday. 10/9 is the regular building committee meeting. So I requested an agenda item for discussion on estimate and any needed scope adjustments based on estimate. That would be 2 weeks from,
Hold on.
based on getting the estimate this Friday.
You can record both the drawings and that email.
Yeah.
To the group, that would be great. Just
Um,
Danny and.
I can't, it's not showing.
okay.
Okay, I can email it to the group right now.
And then 10/14 was, there's no school that day. So that was a day we asked to do a final constructability walkthrough with our team. Basically, we'd bring everybody here, walk through our documents, walk through every space, lift tiles, do all the dot and i's, cross the t's. 10/14. 11/1 would be the bid advertisement with construction documents. 11/11, there's no school, that's Veterans Day. That was a contractor walkthrough date. 11/13, 2 days later, was an RFI deadline. 11/15 was the addenda. And then 11/26 was the bid deadline.
Okay.
So, basically from bid advertisement to bid deadline was 25 days, calendar days. 11/1 to 11/26. So, a couple other things since we got you. I said, Brian, do you have any preferred advertisement locations based on the Thompson market? State contracting portal and Hartford Current and or Norwich Bulletin are requirements per CHRO. So we have to put it on the state contracting portal. And then we have to either do the Current or the Bulletin, Norwich Bulletin, or both. And anything additional based on where we're at, whether it's Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut. Is there anything from your standpoint that we should also advertise this within?
Going mask essential. Central register. Just to go on. Mask.
And again, I don't know, what the contractor, who's gonna look at this.
I'm gonna send it
So I
out.
would
I'm
rely
gonna
on-
send it out to all my.
Yeah, so I would rely on, your input for the mass. If there's
Yeah.
someone from mass that we feel we should.
If you put it on the central register, it'll get to everybody, but as soon as it goes out, I'm gonna forward it to.
Yeah. And then I also asked, should the walkthrough be mandatory or non-mandatory?
My experience, and I think probably for everybody in this room, is you have a walkthrough, like 20 people. You're lucky to show up. I don't want to make it mandatory, it's just optional.
So non-mandatory.
I feel like we should.
Oh, yeah.
Come
no,
see the space.
No, we
Yeah.
definitely want to offer. It just becomes, it's strategic.
Yeah.
Because of the mandatory,
No mandatory,
Yeah, you put
Yeah.
mandatory again.
it's totally optional.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's mandatory and we're planning on holidays.
All right, cool. So that was, basically the summary of the items that I had right now. Obviously, we're working through the front end of the specs, going through the summary of work, application for payment. So there's stuff like that. I'd like to have those over to you to review. And again, that summary of work kind of, it might cover what you're looking at.
Yep.
In regards, we can always have an appendix of this is the, schematic design programming narratives. We can do what we want with those specs, so.
Yep.
Just gotta get you the drawings. Oh, I didn't get it on deliverable. Check. Calling you tomorrow, Bill.
They ended up in the purple folder. I bet.
I know where that is.
Sounds like a place you want to be.
Yeah, so any other questions, comments, concerns, something you'd like to see?
There's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
to
a-
talk about with this guy.
Yeah, and that's the other
Widespread.
thing is that, we want to give them enough to bid it. But there's gonna be means and methods that these guys are gonna come up with in regards to, but we want to give them constraints. Like we can't tell them you're gonna have the school unfettered from January 1 to December 1. Do what you want. So, what's that?
Ideally. Especially, particularly for pulling wire and that stuff with the control face. Ideally, if they could work at night, that would be best.
There is a lot of public.
What's that?
You got someone, right, to babysit them?
So I've got people here till 11 every night. And if somebody has to stay overnight, well, I guess they have to stay overnight. That's where it goes.
We're gonna make all kinds of accommodations because it's a once in a lifetime thing and we need it done, so we're gonna move classrooms and
We move people.
we're gonna do what we have to do.
A lot of good public work out there. So just do a comparison of, oh, this job's brand new. Or I bid on this job that's second shift and only, chopped up.
But this is way more interesting.
This is way, I should read that building committee, man. Those guys are great. Like, so I get worried about the bidding pool.
You're right.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's a definitive, because I had a contractor now bid a project that I really wanted on a job, and I called, I said, hey, look, I can't get kids. These new guys will not work second shift. I was like, what? That's what we've come to. We've come to the young apprentice that is dictating the construction industry.
Everybody that happy. Right? So like,
But it is, it's not, there's no accommodation for PW in second shift or,
right, yeah. Anyway, you're limiting the bidding pool. That's all I'm saying. Our scope it is what it is. Make this sure the specs for you. right?
Oh, yeah.
I know you're out. That's all I got.
Anything for Scott?
So 2 weeks tonight.
How confident are you about the estimates coming in on Friday?
Talked to her today. She said she'd be done today. I was like, well, all right. But then I reinforced basically what we had talked about 10% orders contingency,
Yeah, we'll take a look.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
we'll-
to make
we'll
sure
find
the
the
bottom
manipulate-
line, all of it.
We'll manipulate.
Yeah.
I will have my mechanical estimator go through it just as a second pair of eyes.
Okay.
So that it's always good to have
Yeah,
a professional look at it.
yeah.
I'll have.
Nope, always. And again, because that's the other thing is that, we don't want to make decisions here and take out scope because of an estimate and come in, we're 2 million low. And then we're battling at the end to get up to 13, so, it's tricky dealing with an estimate, especially in vulnerable times.
This job's hard. You can't just say, oh, it's, HVAC is going for $85.
Yeah.
It's just not that whole mark.
what's the material timeline?
No, like air cooled chillers are horrible. But the units, air handling units, rooftop units, stuff like that, pretty less than
Yeah, real
26
good.
weeks. Yeah. Like electrical distribution, you try to get a switchboard right now, 55. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Yeah. That stuff is horrible. Chillers.
I will say the equipment and what shot up like this with lead times has plateaued, came down, and prices have come down too, surprisingly. So it's kind of like plateauing, but some of the lead times are still. It is. Really? My jobs are 12 months. I can't get the thing for 70 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple stuff too, like an 800 amp circuit breaker. 50.
Well,
There's that.
I'm building this whole Marlboro right now. We're almost done. No power.
Yeah.
That was, there's no power.
I have a friend that works for one of the major, and they're not authorizing over. Says the profit margin's not there, we don't care. We just do not care. You make those widgets, and if we pick out 12 today and 10 tomorrow and 3 the next day, we're fine.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have you come in on Saturday and Sunday to catch up the market demand.
Yeah.
I'm like,
The price of
oh yeah, it's price control, longevity,
Yeah.
and profit margin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah. Shame.
All right, if nobody has any more questions, let's do a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion.
Motion of a second. Okay,